Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Walker. Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel. Big day in Ottawa. Big day for Canada, for the United States, too. Sort of. Big dinner coming up in the nation's capital, where Joe Biden is wrapping up his day and a half long visit to the Great White North. He started with a visit to Parliament Hill, went inside a guest book, went through some pomp and circumstance, then addressed Parliament. After meeting with the Canadian delegation, he brought his own entourage with him. They met behind closed doors, discussed a variety of subjects ranging from China, international trade, Canada-US trade, Chinese security, the economy, the banking system, the pandemic. What else did they talk about? NORAD, and of course, can't forget the war in Ukraine and the money that's flowing, the weapons, the level of support from Canada for everything going on. So, yeah, it's been a busy day in Ottawa as the President of the United States continues his visit with Justin Trudeau, but not just Trudeau. He also met with Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the official opposition, the Conservative leader. We have all of that, plus some other news today as well from France. We have police officers there beating protesters and other ones refusing to do so. We have a little nugget from Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov to share with you tonight. And what else can I talk about with you? Just a lot of stuff out of Ottawa. Oh, and I wanted to touch as well on Kamala Harris. This is from quite a few days ago, but we're gonna run the clip anyway because it's entertaining, to say the least, where she went into a locker room to address a basketball team. It's kind of funny. Anyway, we'll get into all of that stuff. Hopefully we'll get to the phones as well, so you guys can join the conversation on what happened in Ottawa with the meeting between the two delegations from Canada and the United States, led by Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden. As I say, a big day on the political front in Canada and the U.S., with Ottawa hosting the U.S. Prez. Don't go away. More coming up right after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, yeah, as I say, there was a lot going on today. And Joe Biden never one to disappoint. Made some mistakes, some faux pas while speaking to Parliament. Let's take a quick look and see. Oh, yes. What did he say? He applauds China for stepping up. I mean Canada. This is a pretty good one. And we're getting these highlights out of Twitter today, but here he was.
So today, I applaud China for stepping up. Excuse me, I applaud Canada. You can tell what I'm thinking.
Just can't get through a speech without screwing up. Just cannot do it. I noticed too that during the news conference today with Trudeau, he had to clear his throat. He dodders around. I just can't believe how frail he appears to be. It's sad, really. It truly is. It almost feels like, I say, elder abuse. Sometimes watching this unfold. And here's Biden meeting very briefly, and I don't believe this is the actual meeting, but this was the meet and greet where Biden walks in the morning and shakes hands with the various dignitaries, including Pierre Poilievre of the Conservative Party of Canada. And listen to what's said in this little exchange. Poilievre says that opposition is part of being loyal. He says, we believe that opposition is an act of loyalty in our system. And Biden responds, we do too, unfortunately. This from the guy who says he's a defender of democracy. Here we go. Listen.
Mr. President Pierre Poilievre, leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition. Absolutely. We believe that opposition is an act of loyalty in our system.
We do too, unfortunately.
Did you pick that up? We'll run it again. Poilievre's pretty sharp. Like, that's very, there's real presence of mind there, but not so much with Biden. Or maybe it is. Listen to him again.
Absolutely. We believe that opposition is an act of loyalty in our system.
We do too, unfortunately.
We do too, unfortunately. I don't think that he views opposition as being an act of loyalty so much, to be quite honest with you. I don't think he does. He likes to throw people in jail that disagree with him. Just look at all the J6ers still sitting in lockup. All of that going on today, man. Oh, yeah, we're also going to go to the Pentagon tonight, too, because for a news conference involving where they're going to address airstrikes by the U.S. in Syria. So we'll go to that, too. And as I say, Biden, really making a lot of waves in Ottawa today. Big deal when the U.S. president comes to Canada. Doesn't happen very often. Here's the Premier of Quebec, François Legault, commenting on Biden's visit.
On va passer aux questions en anglais. Questions in English.
Hi.
Hi.
Henya for CBC Montreal. What are your thoughts on Roxham Road closing? Are you satisfied?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I think that's what we were asking for. I think that we were able to put enough pressure on the federal government. And I want to thank Mr. Trudeau and the federal government. I want to thank President Biden also. I'm happy to see that relations between Canada and U.S. are good. It's important when you take into consideration what's happening in Russia and China. It's important that Canada has good relationship with the U.S. And so I think I'm very happy about the fact that it will be applied at midnight tonight. So I'm very happy.
Merci.
Next one.
Pedro Quirito for CTV. Airbnb has decided to remove the listings that do not have the proper permit in Quebec. What do you think? What's your reaction on this?
I'm happy, and I think it's a success for Caroline Proulx because that's what she asked for. And I think that in making sure that only the people with the right permits can be published on our BNB site, I think it's a good news. Yeah.
As a second question, on Haiti, do you think Canada, including Quebec soldiers, should participate in the military intervention to bring order back to Haiti?
Yeah. So about Haiti, of course, we have many people in Quebec coming from Haiti, and it's terrible what's happening out there. It's not easy to find solutions. Of course, we're ready to help. We need to have somebody from Haiti being in charge, taking the leadership, and that's where it's a real challenge. But whatever is needed, we're ready to participate because it's terrible what's happening in Haiti. Yeah.
C'est ce qui met fin à la conférence de presse.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Bonne fin.
So, for our US viewers or others who maybe are not familiar with the issue, the reference to Roxham Road is an immigration issue. That is where illegal, or they call them irregular migrants, cross over into Canada. It's been an ongoing issue for a number of years. Today, the issue of irregular or illegal immigration was addressed, and as of midnight tonight, the agreement between Canada and the US on how those immigrants are going to be dealt with will be revised. So it basically closes up Roxham Road. And that's a big deal for Canada. And we'll probably have more to say about that this evening too, especially when we get to the phones. So that all takes effect as of midnight tonight. And it's amazing that it took this long for it to be addressed. So also tonight, Pierre Poilievre talking about his actual meeting, his face-to-face with the president. We can pull him up. And this is his response.
Bonjour tout le monde, merci d'être venu. Je viens de tenir une excellente rencontre avec le président Biden où je l'ai remercié pour l'amitié de nos deux pays. J'ai réitéré nos supports pour rendre nos forces militaires plus fortes afin de protéger la sécurité continentale, y compris en collaborant davantage sur NORAD. J'ai aussi mentionné que le Canada devrait encore recevoir une exemption aux règles de Buy America, comme on avait eu pendant les années Harper-Biden.
So he's talking about, in French, trade agreements between Canada and the U.S. He's also going to address ongoing discrimination on the unvaccinated being able to cross over into the U.S. So I think he'll talk about that here because I know that he did mention that in his Twitter posts today, just a short time ago. So we'll be bringing that up in just a moment.
La réinstauration de ces douanes quand Justin Trudeau est arrivé en pouvoir. Donc, on a besoin de
and I'm not sure if he'll talk about the safe third party, the safe third country agreement, rather.
Et c'est les règlements en ce qui
But that is
concerne,
what was expanded,
les
that
vaccins,
agreement
on permet des Américains non
to
vaccinés de venir
allow
ici. Les
the
Américains permettent
implementation of this
leurs
expanded
propres
agreement tonight at
citoyens de
midnight.
traverser
So
la
it
frontière
basically
sans être
closes
vaccinés.
up that Roxham Road
J'ai suggéré au président
border
qui
crossing for
devrait
illegal
mettre fin
or irregular
à ces
migrants.
obligations qui empêchent des millions de Canadiens de traverser la frontière. Donc, il faut, through a personal medical decision and new tariff, just finished an excellent meeting. Permettre des Américains non vaccinés de venir ici. Les Américains permettent leurs propres citoyens de traverser la frontière sans être vaccinés. J'ai suggéré au président qu'il devrait mettre fin à ces obligations qui empêchent des millions de Canadiens de traverser la frontière. Donc, il faut, c'est juste le bon sens, le gros bon sens. Il faut ramener le gros bon sens chez nous avec une amitié plus forte pour le bénéfice de nos deux peuples. Thank you very much. I just finished an excellent meeting with President Biden, where we discussed the need for Canada to bolster its defenses, to cooperate further on NORAD, but also to bring fairness to Canadian workers. After Prime Minister Trudeau took office, the United States slapped us with Buy America rules that discriminate against our workers and new tariffs on our softwood lumber, two issues that Prime Minister Harper had resolved with the earlier Bush and Obama administration. So I sought an end to softwood tariffs and an exemption for Canada for Buy America. Finally, I encourage the President to remove vaccine mandates on Canadians crossing into the United States. The U.S. government no longer requires vaccination for its own citizens to cross the border. Canada allows Americans who are unvaccinated to come here. There are millions of good, decent, honorable people who, through a personal medical decision, are discriminated against at the border, and I encouraged the President to lift those restrictions to allow them freedom of mobility across our southern border. In essence, what we have to do is bring it home for our country, bring home our jobs, bring home our industry, bring home our paychecks, bring home security, and bring it home for this country. Thank you very much.
Qu'est-ce qui arrive avec l'invitation ce soir? C'est pas tout à fait clair. Votre bureau a dit que vous n'aviez pas été invité. Avez-vous été invité? Qu'est-ce qui arrive finalement?
Le bureau, le gouvernement a envoyé une invitation à un courriel que je n'utilise pas depuis 7 ans. Et ils ont menti aussi aux médias en disant que j'avais refusé. Je n'ai jamais refusé. Donc, c'est un mensonge et plus de désinformation SME par Justin Trudeau.
How many response did you get from the president on your requests?
Excellent response. President Biden wants to be a friend of Canada, and I know that if our government had raised these issues with him, he probably would have been more responsive. If we had a prime minister who was fighting for our forestry workers and our construction workers and for Canadians who are not vaccinated, I'm sure that the president would have received those interventions very well. But I don't believe that Prime Minister Trudeau has pushed and fought on behalf of Canadians. But I have to say that President Biden was very receptive. He wants to be a good friend and neighbor to Canada, and that's why I was so encouraged with our meeting.
How do you feel when Biden asked you to stand up in regards to the remarks about gender parity in the governments?
Well, we support gender equality for all Canadians.
Yeah. Like, what is it like? This was your first time meeting the president. Just give us your personal impressions.
Well, he's I shared with him that we both have Irish blood. My biological grandmother was Molly Malloy, and my biological grandfather was Patrick Farrell. And of course, it doesn't get more Irish than Biden. And so we just both agree that there are only two types of people, those who are Irish and those who wish they were. But he's a friendly, decent, good partner for Canada. And it was clear from our interaction that he wants the best for both of our countries. Oui.
Au sujet du chemin Roxham, on voit aujourd'hui dans le texte de l'entente qui a été rendu public que les amendements qui entrent en vigueur à minuit ce soir La base de ça a été négociée il y a 1 an. Ça
Ouais.
vous dit quoi, ça, que ça entre en vigueur seulement ce soir?
Mais premièrement, il faut reconnaître qu'on n'a jamais eu de problème avec la migration illégale massive avant Justin Trudeau. On avait le même entente sur les troisième pays sûrs avant Justin Trudeau. On avait la même frontière, mais on n'avait jamais ce problème de gens qui traversaient la frontière dans des nombres comme on a vu avec Justin Trudeau. Donc, c'est lui qui a ouvert le chemin Roxham et c'est lui qui a causé le problème. C'est la raison pour laquelle, il y a un mois, j'ai revendiqué que le premier ministre trouve une façon de fermer le chemin Roxham. Et finalement, on entend qu'il peut y avoir une entente pour le faire. J'espère que cette entente va fonctionner. Et on ne sait pas pourquoi le premier ministre a pris aussi longtemps pour le faire. Yes. We never had a problem at Roxham Road or any sort of problem with mass illegal migration before Justin Trudeau. Even though we had the same 6,000-kilometer border, we had the same safe third country agreement, we never had this problem until Justin Trudeau created the infrastructure and gave the message that this was the right way to come to Canada. And now we're hundreds of millions of dollars into costs. Many other immigrants who applied properly are waiting longer. We have 1.1 million immigrants in the queue, a record backlog. This is the broken immigration system that Justin Trudeau has created. We hope that he will undo some of the damage he caused in this new agreement with the United States of America. We will watch very carefully. Our view is that we should close Roxham Road, but more quickly process the lawful immigrant applicants, including refugees, so that we can bring more brilliant Canadians to help build our country.
But did it come up in the meeting? Did it come up in the meeting?
I'm wondering what you make of the way President Biden right now is approaching green transition, the billions, in fact, that he is spending on this, the pressure that's on Canada to match it financially, and where you stand on all of that, whether it is the government ought to be matching what Biden is doing or how you see that.
Well, I say first, do no harm. And right now, our government is doing immense harm to the possibility of green jobs in this country. By its own admission, this government takes as much as 25 years to grant a permit for a mine. We have all the minerals necessary for electric car batteries right here in Canada, but we can't produce them because of government gatekeepers that make it impossible to get it approved. The Ring of Fire in Ontario has been talked about for 15 years. The First Nations there have been waiting 5 years for a permit for a highway to get to the Ring of Fire, and they don't even have a shovel in the ground yet. So the biggest problem is government gatekeepers that prevent us from permitting mines, factories, and other necessary green infrastructure to get these things built. So a Poilievre government will get out of the way so that Canadians can get things done, and we will bring home the production of all kinds of energy to this country. One last question.
Did Roxham Road come up at the meeting? Did the president raise it, or did you raise it? Please tell me, sir.
You did not, because I have not had an opportunity to comment on the proposed arrangement that they brought forward, so I didn't want to make an uninformed comment. I want to take some time to study what it is that they're proposing before I bring it up.
Thank you. Following recent allegations about Handong.
Well, first of all, I think it was very moving and very touching to have the two Michaels here, two courageous men who survived unimaginable hell. And I was very heartened that everyone in the chamber gave them such a warm welcome. I'm not going to pass judgment on these allegations because I don't know all the facts, but I will say this. Only a public inquiry can get to the bottom of this. And I note that Mr. Handong has actually voted in favor of a public inquiry. So for his sake and for everybody's sake, and most importantly, for the sake of the truth, the Prime Minister has to end his cover-up and call a full public inquiry. Thank you very much.
Yeah, inquiry. I think that's what the people want. That's what's needed. That's what we should have. As Poilievre says right there, for the sake of the truth. And that is what will set us free. Here's former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien, also responding to questions about Joe Biden's visit today.
To talk with them and to tell
Talking
them,
about
look,
trade,
you sign an agreement with us that there will be
protectionism.
no protectionism between the two nations. It was you know, the NAFTA, I signed it. It was not finished. Started by Mulroney, but it was not finished, and I finished it. He had started with George Bush Senior, but I finished it with Bill Clinton. So they have to respect the treaty.
How should we respond to the American pressure to intervene in Haiti?
You know, we should do our part. I think we should do something. It's very important. But it's better to know exactly what will happen after we agree. You're running the risk to be alone there. I've seen situations like that before. So it's very nice to do what we have to do, but we cannot take the full responsibility.
Mr. Chrétien, there's been a lot of allegations and leaks about Chinese interference in Canadian elections. Can I ask you what you think of that and whether you think there should be an inquiry?
You know, they have resolved the problem. Somebody looks after that at this moment. So I don't want to pass a judgment for him.
Hier, vous avez dit que ce n'était pas un gros problème. Vous avez dit ça à la télévision. Vous ne pensez pas que
Écoutez,
l'ingérence chinoise est un gros problème?
Écoutez, si c'est le plus gros problème qu'on a au Canada, on est en sacrée bonne forme. Est-ce qu'ils sont intervenus aux élections? Je ne sais pas. Même moi, je suis intervenu dans les élections. Ben non, j'avais dit à New York, à un moment donné, à Washington, j'avais dit Hillary Clinton avait eu une grippe, une pneumonie. Et j'avais dit, il y a des médicaments pour les pneumonies. Mais il n'y a pas de médicaments pour la stupidité. Je n'ai pas nommé personne, mais on me dit que je m'étais mêlé des choses qui ne me regardaient pas. Ça m'est arrivé aussi aux Philippines. Et durant le référendum, les péquistes étaient bien contents quand Chirac avait dit quelque chose, puis ils étaient bien en maudit quand Clinton a dit quelque chose. Ça arrive, c'est la vie. Next, last one.
On dirait que vous minimisez le problème de l'ingérence chinoise. Ça aurait pu
Je ne sais pas. Dites-moi donc quelle est l'ingérence chinoise. Dites-moi donc qu'est-ce qui est arrivé. Non, dites-moi qu'est-ce qui est arrivé. Mais comment, combien? Il n'y a personne qui peut donner plus que 1 500 $ à un candidat. Sinon, c'est illégal.
So there he is, Jean Chrétien, former prime minister,
Il y en a quelqu'un qui vient d'être nommé.
liberal.
Pas pour faire sa job.
It's enough. I noticed they didn't bother to interview Joe Clark, another former prime minister who was there today. He was in the gallery in the House while Biden was giving his speech. Joe who? Yeah, exactly. More progressive than conservative he was, even as prime minister. Let's take a brief break. We're going to be going to that gala, the big shindig, the star-studded dinner, fit for a president, where they're eating le roast beef, not crickets. No crickets on the menu tonight. Not for the elite. Don't go away. More right after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow, maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
It was, to shift gears just a little bit for a moment, 20 years ago, The actual anniversary was a couple of days ago, but we were still into the early stages of the war in Iraq. And the U.S. military attacked Baghdad with cruise missiles back in 2003. I just wanted to bring you a reminder of what happened there after telling us all there were weapons of mass destruction. Not so. Shock and awe. Shock and "20 years ago, 2 decades. For me, it just seems like yesterday. Seems like yesterday. But the party continues in Ottawa tonight. Where they have a fancy dinner all lined up. No crickets, however. They will be eating, for the first course, cedar salt and seaweed crusted rare seared East Coast yellowfin tuna, white bean hummus, cucumber, pickled radish, and bitter greens, flaxseed cracker, and lemon parsley emulsion. For the main course, global warming be damned. I thought we were supposed to avoid eating beef because of the cow farts and burps causing global warming. However, tonight they will feast upon Alberta beef braised short rib, butternut squash puree, and Yukon gold potato, wildflower honey roasted carrots, and fine green beans, and wine from the Pelee Island Winery, one of the finest. Oh, but it doesn't end there. There is dessert. For dessert, they will be having wild blueberry and Quebec maple mousse cake, screech rum caramel and sweetgrass meringue, and fresh berries. The cost? I have no idea. I'm certain it will cost taxpayers more than I will pay for my dinner tonight, which I have not yet had because we've been too busy working, bringing you coverage all day long since this morning. However, I will indulge in craft dinner or something equally elegant when we sign off tonight. I'm quite the chef. Le hot dog, le KD, with a sprinkling of sodium. Perhaps a little monosodium glutamate if I wanted to get fancy. Pretty nice spread there in the nation's capital. I believe that's at the Military Museum, at Aviation Museum in Ottawa. Cool place. Great location for a dinner. Invitation only. And as I say, no crickets on the menu this evening. So we'll come back to this as the broadcast progresses, since we have the feed from the dinner for the elite in the nation's capital of Canada.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Now, see, why I like Trump when he was president is because when people came to the White House, he gave them McDonald's hamburgers. He put on the best spread with, large fries. Everything was a combo. He had the burgers stacked up, baby. Now, that was class. I can't really fault Trudeau and the government for putting on the dog for Joe Biden and laying out a really nice spread, but it just kind of sticks in my craw a little bit when they expect us to eat bugs. Tonight, in other news, a letter threatening to kill Alvin was found at the Manhattan DA's office. And this is being reported across mainstream media tonight. This is the ABC version of the narrative. And here's Trump.
Mr. President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make this if there was no truth or allegation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
So Trump saying he doesn't know where the $130,000 came from and says he didn't know about the payment. Well, the grand jury is still weighing the possibility of laying charges against Trump in connection with that $130,000 hush payment to former porn star. Is she a former porn star? Sort of, I guess. I don't know. She's still active in the industry, as they say. I don't know. But yeah, they're still weighing the possibility of charging him. And this, because of that $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels, who I think has become more famous than ever because of going public with that information, which is in itself sort of a violation of what amounted to a non-disclosure agreement with Trump. Does that mean she has to give the money back? I wouldn't count on it. And then this letter threatening to kill Alvin was discovered in the same building that the grand jury is meeting in, and it's addressed to, in the mailroom there, it's addressed to Alvin, which authorities believe is referencing the district attorney, and it had white powder in the envelope. However, analysis of the white powder today indicated that it was not any kind of a lethal agent, that it was benign, I guess. So really meant to scare more than anything else, I imagine. But they'll be following up on that. Who knows where that might lead? Of course, if you think back, that sort of thing has happened in the past, and in at least one instance, I don't remember how many years ago it was now, but white powder was being sent through the mail, and it was anthrax. In this case, though, that is not what happened. Let's go back to the shindig, shall we? And just check in to see what's happening there in Ottawa with the big party. Oh, selfies. Oh, yeah. Right on, brother. Man. Different world for those folks. It really, really, truly is. And I can tell you that from firsthand experience, kind of weaving in and out of that world a little bit just as a journalist, right? As a journalist, you don't have the kind of money that those folks have. They view the world in a completely different way, and they view the common people in a different way too. A lot of them do. It is a class thing. Oh, there's Stephen Guilbeault, Environment and Climate Change Minister, the guy who was arrested for scaling the CN Tower to protest climate change. Now running the government, running that ministry. It's very, very interesting to sort of dip in there and see how the other half lives. Oh, there's Jagmeet. There he is. Where do I sit? Where's my table? I need to eat my food. My multi-course 5-star dinner. Maybe I'm being too harsh. What do you guys think? Yeah, I really, really, really would like them to put bugs on the menu. They should. Lead by example. Lead by example. You want us to eat bugs? You first. Crickets. Cricket soup. Cricket cereal. Cricket alphabets. There's Joe Clark, former prime minister. If you want to know who Joe is, that's Joe Who right there. Joe Clark. Not really such a bad guy. Just not a very successful prime minister. Conservative. Progressive conservative. And it is a star-studded affair. Eugene Levy, the actor, is going to be there tonight. Former Second City television comedy troupe member. Done a lot of TV. Pretty famous. Done some big movies. Still a very prominent actor. Successful. A lot of other celebrities there. Activists. Big names in politics. Lots going on in Ottawa this evening. Lots going on over in France, too. Oh, but first, Trudeau. The government, Prime Minister's office now acknowledging that Justin Trudeau and his wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, did stay in a $6,000 per night hotel suite while attending the funeral for Queen Elizabeth. Multiple media outlets now reporting that, including the state-funded CBC. $6,000 a night. That's Canadian socialism. That's not what people voted for, man. Unbelievable. And here's Polyev coming in.
Please take your seats for dinner. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez prendre place pour le dîner.
There he is.
We kindly ask that you remain at your assigned seat for the duration of the meal. Nous vous demandons de bien vouloir demeurer à votre place assignée durant tout le repas.
Jean Chrétien. Oh, posing for pictures. Wow. White tablecloths, fine china. And you know, I went to McDonald's the other day. Cost me $19 and change. I was hungry. And $19 and change, including taxes. And you know, you got to pay those taxes because you have to keep these guys paid and well fed. $19 and change, $6,000 per night hotel rooms and fine dining. Different world, baby. Totally different world. Man alive. So over in France, protests continuing, unrest in the streets, and cops beating protesters. The unrest is worldwide, isn't it? No Alberta beef for the people in the streets. They'll be taking their seats soon. They're being told.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats for dinner. We kindly ask that you remain at your assigned seat for the duration of the meal. Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez prendre place pour le dîner. Nous vous demandons de bien vouloir demeurer à votre place assignée durant tout le repas.
Interesting. Not a mask in the place that I'm seeing. Maybe we're turning the page in at least some way. We'll come back to it. Don't go away.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
So there she is, Vice President Kamala Harris. I just wanted to touch on this because I really hadn't paid much attention to it, honestly, earlier, but this is from a number of days ago where she went in to talk to the number 16th ranked, I guess, Howard Bison. They lost, I guess, last Thursday. They lost to the Kansas Jayhawks in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But Kamala Harris came in because she used to go to school there and gave, an inspirational speech. But she's kind of getting roasted for it on social media because the way she spoke to the team made people think that she was addressing a group of kids, like 9-year-olds. She was like, you made us so proud. Everything's so great. Anyway, I just want you to listen to the way she talks, man.
So good. You played hard. You played to the very last second. You made all us Bisons so proud. You showed the world who Bison are. I was at Howard back in the day where we were just happy that there was a game, much less getting to this place, right? And I see Bison literally all over the world. And we've been talking about you, this team. You make us so proud. So I know you may not be feeling great right now, okay? But know who you are. You are excellence. You guys are so good. You played hard. You played to the very last second. You made all us Bisons so proud.
She sees Bison all over the world. You showed the world who Bison are. They lost. But Kamala came in and gave them the verbal equivalent of a participation trophy. But they still lost. It's just kind of funny.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So just to kind of recap what Canada has committed to after today, Trudeau's office has confirmed that a series of new funding commitments have been made as, part of today's meeting with Joe Biden in Canada. $250 million in Canada's semiconductor sector, $420 million to protect and restore the Great Lakes, $100 million in additional equipment and support for the Haitian National Police, $7.3 billion in infrastructure for the arrival of F-35 fighter jets from the $38.6 billion NORAD modernization plan. That's a chunk of change. And during his speech today, ending or kind of capping off his speech to Parliament, Joe Biden said he wants to go back to the moon. He wants to do it with Canada, together. And said, it's about possibilities. Tried to be inspirational. And that's kind of where things went today. But making quite a number of faux pas along the way. And showing his age. He's getting through it, though. Unfortunately, the United States continues to bomb other countries. Today, the Pentagon came through with a news conference after launching airstrikes in Syria. We've got that news conference queued up for you. Here we go.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Just a few things to deliver up top, and we'll get right to your questions here. So first of all, I'd like to take a moment to recap recent operations in the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility. Per our DoD statement last night, a U.S. contractor was killed yesterday and 5 U.S. service members and 1 additional U.S. contractor were wounded after a one-way unmanned aerial vehicle struck a maintenance facility on a coalition base near Hasaka in northeast Syria at approximately 1:38 p.m. local time. Secretary Austin, at the direction of President Biden, authorized U.S. Central Command forces to conduct precision strikes into eastern Syria against facilities used by groups affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The airstrikes were conducted in response to yesterday's attack, as well as a series of recent attacks against coalition forces in Syria by groups affiliated with the IRGC. In terms of airstrike details, 2 U.S. Air Force F-15E fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Air Force's Central and based in the CENTCOM area of responsibility struck 2 IRGC-affiliated facilities at approximately 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time, or 2:40 a.m. local. The facilities were located near Dar Zur in eastern Syria, and we're continuing to assess the outcome of the strikes. Initial indications are that the facilities were destroyed. In regards to any militant casualties, we're still assessing. These precision strikes were intended to protect and defend U.S. personnel, and the U.S. took proportionate and deliberate action intended to limit the risk of escalation and minimize casualties. As Secretary Austin said in his statement, no group will strike our troops with impunity. Again, Secretary Austin, along with the Department of Defense, offer our thoughts and prayers to the family and colleagues of the American contractor who was killed and with those who were wounded in the attack. Our forces deployed in Syria continue to conduct their important mission in support of the international coalition to ensure the enduring defeat of ISIS. Separately, Secretary Austin and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, testified yesterday before the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Defense to discuss the President's fiscal year 2024 budget. Next week, both leaders are scheduled to testify before the Senate Armed Services Committee and the House Armed Services Committee on DoD's budget posture and our future year's defense program. Again, the Secretary and the Chairman look forward to working with Congress to provide our service members serving around the world with the resources that they need to accomplish DoD's mission and strengthen America's national security for the 21st century and beyond. Finally, on Wednesday, Secretary Austin unveiled a comprehensive plan aimed at improving the lives of our dedicated military force and their families. The new plan consists of 6 additional actions that address essential needs in education, childcare, parental leave, and career advancement. The Department of Defense is committed to working with Congress and other stakeholders to ensure the successful implementation of these measures. The plan directs the implementation of the following: universal pre-kindergarten at DoD education activity schools, dependent care flexible spending accounts for service members, promoting awareness of new military parental leave benefits, improvements to the exceptional family member program, expanded spouse eligibility for career advancement account financial assistance, and continuing efforts for portability for professional licensees for military families. Secretary Austin and the Department of Defense are dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for our service members and their families through these new measures. The DoD will collaborate with Congress and state partners to ensure the successful implementation and ongoing support of these initiatives. The memorandum and additional information can be found on the DoD website. And with that, I will take your questions. We'll start with AP, Lita Baldor.
Thanks, Pat. A couple things. Just one quick clarification. In the counterstrikes, did the U.S. Hit 3 or 2? Was it 3 strikes or 2 strikes?
Two different facilities, so 2 strikes.
2 strikes. Okay. And then secondly, can you talk a little bit about the protection at the base where the Iranian drone hit? My understanding is that there was some either lacking protections there. Can you say whether or not any of the radars or aerostats or anything that are there either failed or were not operating? Is there adequate protection there now? How did the drone pierce the security of that base? And then I have one follow-up.
Sure. So first of all, broadly speaking, for operation security reasons, I'm not going to get into the specifics in terms of the types of force protection capabilities we have in our facilities, other than to say we take force protection very, very seriously. I will say, as it pertains to radar, my understanding is that there was a complete site picture in terms of radar. All that said, as is the case in any type of attack, U.S. Central Command will conduct a review to assess what happened and take a look at what, if any, other type of mitigating actions need to be taken. But it would obviously be premature to talk about that. And then your follow-up?
Just a quick follow-up on the actual situation now. Obviously, the U.S. Was struck again. Green Village was hit again in response to the U.S. retaliatory strikes. Are things escalating there? Can we expect more? Is this turning into a far more escalatory situation in Syria for the troops?
Sure. And as you highlight, this morning at approximately 8:05 a.m. local time, which would have been 1:05 a.m. Eastern time, we had 10 rockets that targeted coalition forces at Green Village in northeast Syria. The attack resulted in no injuries to U.S. or coalition personnel and no damage to equipment or facilities. In terms of escalation, look, again, our focus in Syria is on the defeat ISIS mission, and that will remain our focus. We do not seek conflict with Iran. We don't seek escalation with Iran. But the strikes that we took last night were intended to send a very clear message that we will take the protection of our personnel seriously and that we will respond quickly and decisively if they are threatened. You go to Fadi.
Thank you, General. I have two questions. So according to the DOD, the intelligence assessment is this UAV to be of Iranian origin. The groups that were targeted by the U.S. are affiliated with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. One American citizen was killed, 6 more were injured. Do you and the Department and the Secretary of Defense hold Iran responsible for the death of an American citizen?
Look, we know that these groups are sponsored by Iran, so Iran certainly plays a role in terms of ensuring that this type of activity doesn't happen.
So is Iran responsible for the death of an American citizen or not?
Look, Iran certainly, again, backs these groups and by default, therefore, has a responsibility to ensure that they're not contributing to insecurity and stability, but clearly they continue to do that. Thank you. Jennifer, let me go.
Question, I'll make it quick. So yesterday, General Kurilla was on the Hill delivering his testimony. According to the DOD statement, the attack happened at 1:38 local time. So that was prior to his testimony. When he delivered his testimony on the Hill, did he know about the attack? And if so, why didn't he inform the Congress about it?
Yeah, I'd have to refer you to General Kurilla. Thank you. Jennifer?
General Ryder, what kind of drone was this Iranian drone, and how fast was it flying when it came towards the base? And did it, in the end, actually crash into the base, or did it fire its missiles at the base?
Yep, thanks, Jennifer. So we're still assessing some of those pieces. I don't have that information to provide, other than we are very confident that based on the forensics, based on the intelligence analysis that we've done, that it was of Iranian origin.
Did it crash into the facility or fire a weapon at the facility?
It did not fire a weapon, to my knowledge.
So if you say the radar was working and if you were tracking it, and drones don't fly that quickly, how is it that it was able to crash into the base? And you say that you're protecting those bases.
Look, again, this is a dangerous part of the world. The work that we do is inherently dangerous. That's why you have the military in these types of places conducting these type of operations. We've seen rocket attacks, mortar attacks in the past from these kinds of groups. Again, CENTCOM will do an assessment in terms of the attack, but the fact is that these IRGC-backed groups conducted this attack, and unfortunately, we had an American killed.
Why wasn't there a contingency to shoot down the drone if it was coming into the base?
Again, look, we take a variety of measures to safeguard our people, but again, it's an inherently dangerous place, and again, we'll look into the details of the actual attack. Thank you. We go to Janie.
Thank you, General. I have two questions. North Korea announced that it had conducted a nuclear underwater explosion test, and Kim Jong-un said that he would respond aggressively to U.S. and South Korea. How will the U.S. react to this?
Yeah, so I'm aware that North Korea issued a press release about this supposed capability. I've seen the press reports, but I don't have any further information to provide on that.
Concerned about Kim Jong-un's?
Look, we're always
prepared
concerned about any type of destabilizing activity by North Korea. And so again, it's something that we take very seriously, but as it pertains to the North Korean press release, I don't have anything further to provide.
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, will visit to South Korea soon. Does he have any plans to visit DMZ Panmunjom?
I don't have anything to read out today in terms of General Milley's upcoming visit. So I'd refer you to Joint Staff.
You think he will visit?
Yeah, I don't want to speculate, but thank you. Let me go to Orrin.
Following the 10 rockets that were fired at Green Village, do you believe it was the same group or same militia that carried out the rocket attack and the drone attack? Do you plan to respond to those rockets, and what will it take, do you believe, to restore deterrence there?
Yeah, sure. So our current assessment is that these rocket attacks were conducted by our IRGC affiliated groups, that this rocket attack was done in an effort to retaliate from last night's attacks. Again, they did not cause any damage at the coalition facility. As far as any type of future action, I'm not going to talk about or preview potential future operations other than to say we will always reserve the right to respond appropriately if our forces are threatened. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Are you not concerned that there will be an all-out war with Iran due to the continued exchange fire between the proxy groups and also they are attacking your bases in Syria?
Yeah, look, so first of all, we don't seek conflict or war with Iran. Our focus in Syria is on the enduring defeat of ISIS. You know, unfortunately, what you see in this situation are these Iranian-backed groups, not only in Syria, but conducting operations in the Strait of Hormuz, in the Gulf, in Iraq, conducting destabilizing operations that are meant to export terror and instability. You know, Iran sending drones to Russia. And so again, the United States and our coalition, our allies and our partners, we're focused on trying to ensure stability, security in these regions, and that will continue to be our focus. We do not seek a wider conflict. And so we will, that said, if our people are threatened, we will continue to respond appropriately and proportionately.
It was not the first time, and they did it many more times, and they did it today as well. Will there be any additional response from the U.S. to these groups?
Yeah, I think I just answered that, right? So again, I'm not going to preview any potential future actions other than to, again, say that we will take appropriate action if our forces are threatened. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yesterday, U.S. and ROK joint military exercise named the Field Shield 23 officially finished. How do you assess the outcome of this exercise?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Unfortunately, I don't have any information on the exercise at this point in time, but I'd refer you to USFK. They could give you a good readout.
So do you plan to do more additional such a large-scale joint military exercise between U.S. and South Korea?
So I don't have any specific exercises to highlight here today, other than to say that we very much value our relationship with South Korea, and that I'm confident we will continue to conduct a variety of exercises, exchanges, partnerships in order to improve interoperability, ensure that we're working together to ensure security and stability in the region. Thank you. Let me go to Qasim.
General, I have a clarification question, and then I have separate. With respect to Iran back groups, in the past strikes, we wouldn't hear attributions from the DoD, and you are now very specifically mentioning Iran backed on a IRGC in this statement. Is this what is the reason behind that? Is this something new?
Yeah, I can't speak for the past. All I can speak to is the information that we have, which is our intelligence community assessed that the origin of this drone was Iranian made, and that the groups conducting this attack are affiliated with the IRGC.
The other question about the contractors, the contractors killed, what was his job? One, and then how many contractors do you have in Syria? Do you have a ballpark number for us?
Yeah, so I'm not going to provide any numbers. As you know, we work closely with a variety of contractors around the world, conducting a variety of missions. In terms of the organization of this particular contractor, as a matter of policy, that is something that we will defer to the individual's company to highlight or provide. And so I'm not going to be able to provide any additional details on that. Okay. Let's see here. Yes, sir.
Thank you for taking my question. So as Taiwanese President Tsai visits to the U.S. next week, so it is expected that there will be Chinese backlash. So does Pentagon going to respond some actions like changing the deployment or build up military around the area of Taiwan?
Yeah, sure. On the transit of the president, that's really something for State Department to address. Or, to my knowledge, really no DoD equities associated with that, nor are we changing any postures that I'm aware of. So, thank you. Time for one more. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for taking my question. I have follow-up question on North Korea's announcement yesterday. How much are you worried about North Korea's future deployment of underwater attack vehicle specifically?
Yeah, again, to my knowledge, what we've seen right now is a press release coming from North Korea about this supposed capability. We've seen the press reports, but I don't have any specific information to provide on that particular aspect. Again, more broadly speaking, we constantly maintain, awareness and observe, and are concerned about any destabilizing activity by North Korea. And so we'll continue to consult closely with our allies and our partners in the region to deter aggression and ensure that we can continue to maintain security and stability in the region. All right, the last question. Yes, sir.
Thank you, General. So Pepe DeBazio, he's the former director of the Office of Missile Defense Policy. Earlier today, he was at the CSIS, and he said there's kind of a lack of political will in defensive missile technologies. Do you care to comment on that?
I did not see that, so I don't want to comment on it.
Is the Biden administration pursuing, research in that area to intercept hypersonic missiles, for example, improving ICBM interception capabilities?
Yeah, I mean, look, broadly speaking, missile defense is something that the department takes very seriously for obvious reasons. I don't have specifics to provide to you. Certainly we can get with you offline. But when you look at the kinds of capabilities, the kind of missile capabilities that countries like China are developing, or the use of missiles in the war in Ukraine, missile defense continues to be a very important aspect of our portfolio and something that we'll continue to take a close look at. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it.
We are Mavericks. We say no to the Trudeau and Biden New World Order. And to bugs. Because bugs are creepy and gross. And people should not eat bugs. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Hey, no! To bugs!
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, speeches.
You celebrate your roots
at the dinner,
and that's
the gala.
so important to do. Whether one's a Bangladeshi American or Bolivian Canadian or any heritage, this diversity makes our countries and our communities stronger, better, and more resilient. And it's good to be loud about it too, because the diversity of our origins may not always be obvious on first glance. For instance, the Canadian Americans or American Canadians in our midst tonight. You don't always know how someone will spell the word color. Now, Joe and Jill, you may not know this, but there is a proud tradition amongst Canadians where we watch movies and television and nod knowingly to each other, saying, Americans don't know this, but we know they're Canadian. Take legendary comedy duo Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara here tonight. They've been in dozens of American movies, playing American folk singers, American parents, American dog breeders. Catherine, you've created absolutely iconic characters like Kevin's mom and Moira Rose. And Eugene, at this point, people just think of you as Canadian as American pie. I'm so glad my kids aren't here tonight so I don't have to explain that joke to them. But Catherine and Eugene, like so many of the people here tonight, wave the Canadian flag at home, in the US, and some from even further away. I'm particularly pleased to be here at the Canada Aviation and Space Museum to be able to honor the accomplishments of Canadians in space. As Joe pointed out this afternoon, the coming years will certainly be marking the fact that a Canadian will be heading towards the moon as part of the Artemis II mission, and I look forward to that display. But I took a look around on the way in, and I hadn't yet seen any displays for one of Canada's most famous inhabitants of galaxies far, far away, Anakin Skywalker, also known as Hayden Christensen, who's with us here tonight. And I could go on, but I think the habit of ours that we have as Canadians is really about pointing out how seamless the closeness between our two countries really is. Beaucoup de gens sont réunis ici ce soir, que ce soit du milieu des arts, de la politique, des affaires, des médias ou de la fonction publique. Vous contribuez tous à l'économie dynamique et à la riche culture qu'on a en commun. Aucun pays dans le monde entretient des liens aussi forts et aussi nombreux que nos deux pays. Both of our countries are built on a strong foundation of democracy, of opportunity, of a belief that hope and hard work will build a better future. Our two countries share the longest peaceful border on earth, as long as you don't talk about hockey, although as a Habs fan, I really appreciated your Toronto comments this afternoon. Our border is almost 9,000 kilometers in length. Okay, a little less than 6,000 miles. Because, right, we don't share the metric system, but we do share so much else. From the northern reaches of Alaska and Yukon, which share beautiful landscapes and rich indigenous cultures, to the Atlantic shores where hardworking fishers in Atlantic provinces and states source the kind of high-quality fish and seafood we're enjoying for our appetizer tonight. Joe, the last time you visited, it was a snowy night in December 2016. You saw that changes were coming. You warned us of countries turning increasingly inward. You warned that progress was at stake. You saw how crucial strong leadership among liberal democracies was to be. And as your term as vice president was coming to a close, you talked about how the world would start looking to Canada and to Canadians to stand strong in the face of disruption. Well, I want you to know that Canadians have been working really hard. Let me tell you about the progress we've been making. We forged ahead in the fight against climate change here at home and on the international stage. We've safeguarded reproductive rights in our country, providing funding for women's health around the world. And we just recently launched a $10 a day early learning and childcare plan that has already seen women's participation in the Canadian workforce rise. We have walked the path of reconciliation. In July, the Pope came to Canada to apologize. Chief Wilton Littlechild, glad to see you here tonight, Willie, placed a feathered headdress on the pontiff in a profound gesture of forgiveness and reconciliation. We've provided a safe haven for refugees from Ukraine, Afghanistan, and Syria, welcomed people from around the world. We've tackled inequality. We've cut the poverty rate in Canada by more than half. And we've advocated internationally for 2030 Sustainable Development Goals that will help build a global future that is fair, equal, and peaceful. Oui, Monsieur le Président, le Canada a fait beaucoup de progrès depuis votre dernière visite. On continue nos efforts pour bâtir un meilleur avenir, pour lutter contre les changements climatiques, pour inclure tout le monde dans notre économie, dans notre succès. Mais il reste bien sûr beaucoup de travail à faire. On a bien des défis devant nous et on va rester partenaire au chapitre de la sécurité et de l'économie en restant toujours amis et alliés. Today, new threats to liberal democracy loom on the horizon, and we are united in our efforts to protect our countries and what we stand for. Canada and the US are bolstering Ukraine's defense against Putin's illegal and unjustifiable invasion. We are steadfast security partners through NORAD and NATO and the Five Eyes alliances. We're standing shoulder to shoulder in defense of our values and against authoritarianism. We are working to fight climate change and create new opportunities for people in both of our countries. We are facing the future head-on, eyes open, and with an unwavering belief that justice will always rise up and make, as one of your favorite poets, Seamus Heaney, said, hope and history rhyme. Through our work together, let us secure peace, secure opportunity, and secure a healthy future for generations to come. With that, I ask you all to raise your glasses as I offer a toast. Je lève mon verre à notre histoire, à nos espoirs, à notre prospérité et à la paix et la sécurité qui unissent le Canada et les États-Unis en tant qu'alliés, voisins et surtout de véritables amis, to shared history and shared hope, to shared prosperity, and to the shared peace and security that binds Canada and the United States together as allies, as neighbors, and most importantly, as true friends. Sláinte. Santé.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to introduce the Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States of America. Mesdames et Messieurs, l'Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr., Président des États-Unis d'Amérique.
Thank you very much. You all keep this up. I'm not going to want to go home. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Justin and Sophie, thank you for hosting us for this supper here in Ottawa. And in my speech to Parliament early today, I quoted a famous Canadian poem in Flanders Field. More than 100 years ago, from the battlefields of France, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae wrote, and I quote, "To you from failing hands we throw the torch, be yours to hold it high." You know, from the poppy fields that we saw, and it was incredible to be there, by the way, in Flanders Field, and when on the anniversary, the 50th anniversary, that to the landing grounds in Normandy, to today when our nations still hold the torch very high for democracy, for equality, for freedom, and for our children. Together, we've always found hope and light, creating a better future for all our people. We've always gotten to that point. That's because we're more than neighbors. And I mean this from the bottom of our heart. We're more than neighbors. We're more than partners. We're more than friends. And you alluded to it today, just a moment ago, Mr. Prime Minister. We're more like family. We're more like family. We stand together as friends and as family. And for that reason, I'm optimistic about our future, because I really am optimistic about our future. And I'm very proud of our past. And rather than take you through much longer toast here, let me conclude by saying, you know, my grandfather Finnegan used to have in a toast, he'd joke about an Irish toast, and he'd say, "May those who love us, and those who don't, may God turn their ankle so we know they're limping when they're coming." Well, I kind of wish you that toast too, but at any rate. But speaking of Seamus Heaney, Seamus' poem, The Cure at Troy, was about hope and history rhyming. He said, history teaches us not to hope on this side of the grave, but then, once in a lifetime, that longed-for tidal wave of justice rises up, and hope and history rhyme. I believe with every fiber of my being, we're at an inflection point where we can take control of that quote. I think we can make, if we have the strength and the courage and we stick together as family, we can make hope and history rhyme. So ladies and gentlemen, to all the family, US and Canadian, and this is a hell of a thing to do, to toast with water. By the way, my grandfather used to say, if you toast with anything other than alcohol, you have to do it with your left hand. His name was Ambrose Finnegan. So ladies and gentlemen, to family, to Canada, and to the United States, hear, hear. Thank you, man.
I would like to thank the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau and the Honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr. for their remarks. I now invite you all to enjoy your meal and have a good evening. Je remercie le très honorable Justin Trudeau et l'honorable Joseph R. Biden Jr. pour leurs remarques. Je vous invite maintenant à profiter du repas et de votre soirée.
That wraps up the remarks, the speeches from the gala in Ottawa tonight with Prime Minister and the President of the United States. Hang in there. I'll be right back.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, we're going to the phones. Hang in there while I get everything set up. Here's the number to call.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975. Free. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
Okay, so we just about have everything set up. Just getting these, getting the phone line up here on the screen. We need to do that, and there we go. And we are ready to start taking calls. Let me get the phone number up on the screen for you. You can call in at 1-833-975-3733. Before we do that, I am going to run this little promo while people get situated on the phones.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on with the phone lines. I'm not sure if it's activated properly. Let me just again remind you, you can call in at 1-833-975-3733. And it does look like, I'm not sure if it's functioning properly. Yeah, I think it kicked out. Hang on, let me reconfigure this thing. I'll try to set it up again. I don't think it kicked in. The calls aren't coming in. Here we go. All right. First caller of the night. Hello. How are you
Hello?
this evening? Hi. Here we go.
Oh,
You're on.
how bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Okay, well, I, how did I end up being the first without being in from the south?
I
What the
don't
heck?
know. It's strange, but true.
Oh my God! Wow, what an honor though to reach you.
Well, the honor's mine, and I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
Are you? Because I wasn't prepared.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh my Lord! You know, listening to watching this room full of pure criminals toasting each other and patting each other on the backs of the citizens of both countries is just unbelievably difficult to stomach, really. Yes, I've been watching, kinda, but yeah, not an easy thing to witness, really.
No, especially
Yeah.
when you know what's going on over in Ukraine and in Syria,
Yep.
and the money and the weapons
Yep.
and the killing, the death,
Yeah.
blood.
I mean, they're you know, it's like nothing to them, and yet we're the bad guys because we don't want to support Ukraine, the war. You know, there's just so much contradiction and corruption, and you know, and I'm constantly going down into the lobby in my apartment building right now because somebody keeps posting flyers to support Ukraine. It just makes my stomach churn. Like, people are just naive, either naive, stupid, or blind. I don't know what. Can they, you know, as soon as that elevator door opens and I look across the way and I see that, I'm just, no, you know, and they keep replacing it. The last one they obviously printed it in color saying this is not a joke, because I guess they thought, you know, I was joking by removing it. But anyway, so yeah. Am I choked on about the fact that they're eating beef? Yes. No cows just cows for we, not for thee.
Exactly.
You know, this is just utter BS. You know, did you get any flack about my rant yesterday?
Not so far, but you
Just
know,
curious.
not so far.
Oh, that's good.
The wrath of YouTube
That's
seems
good.
to
I did.
come later. You know,
Oh,
if they're
okay.
going to ban the channel, like, they have to review the stuff, right? So they'll sift through
Right.
everything, and then if they find something they really don't
Mhm.
like, or if they just don't like you,
Mhm.
they'll find something
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
hang
it's kind of interesting how they're, you know, I, is it just me? And I got to ask you because I think I'm missing something. I thought they voted down the tax for alcohol, that sliding tax thing and all that crap. I thought they voted that down, but I just saw an article saying that from today that bars and everything across Canada are bracing themselves for the tax hike coming. And
Yeah,
that just totally threw me for a loop.
Yeah, there is a federal alcohol duty that's set to increase like 6.3%, and that takes effect April 1st.
Oh, yeah, when they get their raises, right? Yeah, I forgot. No, I didn't. I lied. Oh boy, I tell you. But the good news is when I picked up my bacon, my legs, without even my mind knowing, took me somewhere that I didn't plan on, and I found myself in the liquor store. And so I came home with not only 4 packages of bacon to stock up with, but a bottle of vodka too. So the good news with that is, I actually got a bit of sleep last night as a result.
Because you had your own bacon and booze party.
Yeah, I sure did. It's the simple pleasures, right? And I managed to get that in before I had to pay even more for the damn alcohol. God help us all. Honestly. Oh, Lord. I can still see the look on some people's faces when I was pacing up and down the aisles with my bacon in my arms and I'm ranting to you on the phone, and they, with what I'm saying, nobody talks about that crap publicly, right? But there I am up and down the aisles in the superstore. It's a good thing I'm new in town because, yeah. Oh, my Lord.
Good for you.
Anyway, it's gonna be very, very interesting to find out what my freedom group here have to say. I go out every Saturday and we stand out on the highway with our flags, and I can't wait to find out what everyone's thinking about all this crap. We're kind of one-minded that way, anyways, for the most part. But I'll give you an update if you like when I find out what everyone has to say about what's going on with all this, with the Biden and yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people venting tomorrow. And we only do it for 2 hours, and those 2 hours go by very, very quickly. But we do manage to scream over the noise of the traffic pretty good regardless, and share information anyway. But this is, I'm kind of staggered about this whole, it's like such a charade. And how come Sophie isn't having dinner with them? I noticed their seating plan there, and I didn't see Sophie having dinner with them when at the table that he was sitting at.
I'm not sure. They did announce her. We weren't broadcasting at the time, but I was monitoring. She's there.
Oh, okay.
I heard them announce her name. So I believe she is there. I don't know why she isn't sitting with him. Maybe but it just didn't appear to be. I don't know.
Maybe the rumors are true.
Well,
that, it's, well, should I say it? No, I don't need to say it. We all know, right? Probably. But anyways, yeah, I found that kind of poignant when they took the scan over the room and I saw the seating plans and I went, interesting. But, and about the 2 Michaels, what the hell? What the hockey sticks? Really? I don't know about you, but I saw the look on their faces when Freeland was making them, pretty much forcing them to stand up and take a bow.
Yeah.
And their faces look incredibly pained. They looked very uncomfortable. If you read any body language or anything, that was very uncomfortable for me to even watch. I mean, because now they know that they were kept in prison much longer unnecessarily and for the reasons to benefit the Liberal Party.
Yes.
How would you feel?
I'd be right pissed off.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was really painful for me to watch, eh? Really painful for me to watch. I mean, I don't even, did they actually go to the dinner? If I was them, I'd tell them to stick the dinner where the sun don't shine. But that's just me. You know, I mean, I'm pretty.
I was surprised to see them there myself, but politics.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on there?
Politics. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, you know, of course, Paul Revere did his, you know, squeaky clean. His hair's all trimmed up and, you know, his squeaky clean, you know, approach with everything and stuff. But I mean, again, he's still supporting the war the way he is. That just, I find it incredibly troubling. You know, he's very slick with what he has to say. But so was Trudeau in the beginning too. He ain't so slick to me now because I see through his BS so readily that it just makes it so cringeworthy that I have to have a shower. Thanks a lot, Rick. I've already, you know, I'm going to end up with 4 showers today.
Well,
But,
I'm sorry about that.
No, you're not. You lie.
least-
As they say, like a rug.
At least you're informed.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Unfortunately, most unfortunately. But anyways, I don't want to keep you. I didn't even plan on phoning in and bugging you, but when it looked like you were having trouble, I was just kind of curious to see if your phones were working.
I don't know.
And then all of a sudden, there you were. It didn't even ring. It was like beep, hello. I was like, what the?
Well, you know,
if
you want to destroy a YouTube channel and have people not call you, all you have to do is just run Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden all day, and you're ready.
No doubt, eh? Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's I've had a lot of people saying, you know, can't watch it, can't do it. No, can do it. But I tamed my way through pretty much, and yeah. So when is he gone? By the way,
tonight, I believe tonight. I don't know if he
thank the
don't
Lord.
know if he's staying over tonight. But anyway, he's not here tomorrow.
Yeah, he
I
keeps
know that.
threatening that. He keeps threatening he's going to stay forever because we're so friggin' nice.
Oh yeah.
Like, stop that. Like, you know, that was a cringeworthy moment. I don't know about you, but
There were a
he
bunch
said
of
that
cringeworthy moments today with him, man.
I know, right?
And I salute China for standing up. I mean, Canada for standing up. China.
Yeah, that was priceless. Like, I spit my water out.
You
know, at that point, it should have been vodka, but.
And then during the news conference, as soon as Trudeau threw it over to Biden, he had to clear his throat. He couldn't get, you know, it was, you know, why don't you just hork up a greenie and spit it out, pal? It's like,
yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
brutal.
Oh, it
and,
was.
But you know what? I got to tell you, I don't know if it's just me noticing it, but many times there's a Biden that's doing speeches that has lots of freckles and shit, and he's a lot more disoriented. But this Biden, I mean, unless they used spray makeup or something, this Biden has 0 freckles. Like, his skin is so unmarked, it's almost scary. And he's actually a little more alert than the freckle Biden. Like, what the heck?
It is a little weird. Like, and we can't talk too much about that here on YouTube, but I know what you're getting at. I do.
I'm trying to be very careful.
Yeah. I wonder, there was that one video,
right,
where the guy hardly ever blinked, and it was like, what is that?
Yeah. Like, what the ever loving, like, hello, somebody gets like a water pistol or something, like, quick.
I don't know.
What the? What is
did they
going
pump him full
on
of
with
drugs, or
that?
was it like, what did they do? Put
I
some
don't-
computer generated thing up? I don't know, but that was weird.
I don't know. It very, like, there's a lot of questionable stuff. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you saw it, but not Freeland. Oh, Lord help me.
Jolie?
What's his name? Was trending earlier on Twitter. The guy, he's in the hospital. What's his name? Oh, my mind just suddenly went blank. And I heard he died. Oh Lordy, what's his name?
I don't know who you're talking about.
He's the politician in the U.S. Just give me a moment. I'm scrolling through my posts here, and I'm getting there. Fetterman.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Democrat.
so I heard he died. Yep. And, it's been trending like crazy on Twitter. What's going on? Because all of a sudden there's a picture surfacing and they're saying it's Fetterman. Excuse me, but that's a totally different human being standing there. Like, it ain't Fetterman. So they put the two pictures together, and they even tried to show a picture of the new Fetterman next to the wife. Sorry, man, but we're like, whoa. Like they honestly think we're just totally brain dead. And the water, by the way, like now it's come out, like there's been lots of proof that, they're poisoning us in the water with the fluoride and, all that kind of crap, right? I don't know where that came from.
We
It came
really
out of nowhere.
I understand, but we really got to pull
Yeah,
back.
I'm getting.
We are getting.
I know, I'm getting sidetracked.
Into hot water.
We're getting into.
With, YouTube.
Sorry. Yeah, no. Yeah, gotcha. Ixnay at they. Got it.
We're gonna move on.
Okay.
Thanks for the call. See
Yes.
ya.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Who do we have up next here? Steve. Hello, Steve. And just for the record, there's only one Fetterman, only one Biden, and the water is safe to drink. If that's the official YouTube position. Therefore, we move on to Steve now. And you know what I'm saying. But I get my water filtered. That's where I get mine. I only drink filtered water. Not saying that the other stuff ain't safe. I just get mine filtered. Anyway, how are you tonight, Steve?
Yeah. I'm all right. There's too much there for me to comment on at the moment, I guess. Yeah. However, Sophie and Jill Biden are at the table. Their backs were to the camera when you were playing that. The seating arrangement has them sitting across from Justin and Joe.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And when I heard that woman's voice there, I've now nicknamed her Miss Rants. I was hoping she was going to unload again because I quite enjoyed that last night when she went on her rant in the grocery store. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, she was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get that much out and say it as effectively like that. So anyway, you totally obliterated my afternoon. I did not expect you to pop on with all of that. And I actually didn't know about the 2:00 session. So anyway, I ended up watching you rather than getting anything accomplished this afternoon. So I'm just going to blame you when people ask where I was.
That's okay. I'm used to getting the blame. So sorry about that, but sorry, not sorry. Sucked up my day too.
Yeah, well, neither
didn't get anything done except this, so that's okay.
Seeing them there at the what is it? I want to say Navy. What was it called again?
I believe
Museum?
it's a military and aviation museum.
Right. It reminds me of Justin's proposal to replace the cottage.
Yeah, it's the
have
Canada
you ever-
Aviation and Space Museum. That's what it is.
Right. That's it. Right. The space part of it always kind of catches me off guard when I hear it. And then, but it reminds me of Justin's proposal to replace the cottage. Have you seen the proposal for that?
No, I haven't. I know it's expensive. I know.
I can't remember the square footage, but I remember it included 150 person dining hall. You want to be able to seat 150 people in it. So I don't know if they plan on having it on that same site or turn that building into a historical site and then have the, a new cottage built kind of thing. But I remember I was dumbfounded at what he hoped to have in there. And there's an entertainment part of it. I don't remember what it was, like a badminton court or a bowling alley, or I don't know what it is, but I think there's an entertainment room in there as well.
Yeah.
But I was kind of concerned that maybe he was planning on never leaving. That's pretty ambitious, and it would take longer than he should be there to have that accomplished. So it stood out when I heard it. I'm like, why is he so interested in this large dining hall? But anyway.
I don't know. You'd think he must think he's Batman or something, like Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah. He lives the lifestyle of it.
That's right. Yeah. Jet setting around the world, living in $6,000 a night hotel rooms, $36.6 million to renovate the residence at Sussex, upgrade the cottage. It must be a nice life. And then eat beef while the peasants eat the crickets.
Oh, yeah. Like yourself, I wouldn't begrudge them that if they weren't trying to push stuff like crickets onto us, and with inflation and everything.
That's right.
And as a decent person, you would think that $6,000 a night, he would either, well, okay, this one's a little bit too much. Maybe I should pay half of it or something. I mean, Donald Trump took $1 as payment. I don't even know if he took $1.
Yeah.
Do something just to show that you have a bit of a heart and some concern for us. And what is it? 4 raises that they've received?
Yeah.
I mean,
sure, but yeah, I mean, it's decadence is what it is. And it's decadence
exactly.
While they expect us to endure austerity. And it's not right.
Yep.
It's disrespectful. It's contemptuous. It's it really does disgust me. And all of this being done by a prime minister who told us that he was there for the middle class, that he was there for the working people, and he's not at all. He's thumbing his nose at the little people. And then you wonder why people get caught up in the idea of a class war, because it's right there. And this guy's supposed to be a socialist. Well, if that's socialism, count me out, but I don't think that's what people, that's not socialism for the people. That's a fascistic socialism. That's a corporatism. And that's being completely out of touch with the country, with the people. He is by far the worst prime minister in Canadian history. He has no regard for people. He does not care. He's heartless. He's selfish. He's greedy. I think at times he's even downright cruel.
Yep. I agree.
I just don't know why people support him. It's a strange thing, but it's like he's Canadian royalty, and too many Canadians view it that way. In my opinion, they're too easy. They're too quick to support the name, as though he's entitled to it because his father was Pierre, and he's not deserving of it. He hasn't earned it. In fact, he's shown that he is not deserving at all. Man, I'll tell you, like, if I was the prime minister, I'd be frugal. Just because it shows people that you are there to serve. It's a job. You're not the king. You're a public servant. And you're only there for a while. So they've got it upside down, man. I understand that they need to, like you, right? You don't begrudge them some opulence, some high class affair because the president of the United States comes to dinner, right? So of course you have to put on a bit of a show. Okay. But don't tell us to eat frickin' crickets while you eat roast beef. Not right.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better myself. That those feelings are sentiments that I feel exactly.
Makes my blood boil.
I counted the vehicles in that motorcade there that drove Joe in, and I counted 43.
Yeah.
That's including the white van that didn't follow all the way. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know why they're so concerned. Interestingly enough, I was messaging with somebody earlier, and they were talking about a family member who was traveling to Ottawa, and they said, oh, they just messaged back, and they're going to take one of the back roads because of all the stuff that's going on in Ottawa. And by that, it wasn't what's happening with Joe so much as it was referring to like protesters or something.
Oh.
And I hadn't heard much of any, because they didn't have to go through, I don't think they had to go through like downtown or around the Parliament at all. I know where they were heading, probably off to Hull, actually, if I think give it more thought. But so I was just kind of surprised about that. And I think that they're obviously from that area, so they have a bit of contempt for all the protests and all that. The other person I was talking to doesn't. Otherwise we wouldn't have had the conversation. But I was kind of surprised that there was that much disruption in traffic that they felt that they had to go a different route to get back to their. Because I didn't realize there was that much going on there this weekend.
Yeah. Well, what's the date today? The 24th, 25th. Yeah, I guess there's stuff going on. Yeah, I've got a little bit of video here we can run before we sign off tonight too, just kind of showing people some of what was going on outside. So, yeah, I wasn't aware that there were serious traffic issues because of protesters, but we'll see what we can find out.
Well, maybe they were mistaken, but that was how it got to me in the end. And they said that they were going to go all right.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Better move on. We've got Leo waiting in the wings. Thank you.
Don't want to
very
hold
much,
up the mouth. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. See ya.
Thank you.
Okay. Let her rip. You're on the air.
You got the mouth of myself, a man without a plan to master all disasters, Rick. See, I was nice, and I said I'm going to let somebody go first and second tonight, but I will be third.
What a gentleman.
What a gentleman. That dad is something else, boy. I loved your rant last night. Who does that at the grocery store? It sounds like something I would do. Let me tell you today, Rick, what a shit show of all shit shows. Now, last month he was in Poland, Joe Biden, with the paid actors and the grandstands of people clapping for him, and Joe's in town and he's in Ukraine and you hear the sirens going off. What a joke. There is no crowd for Joe Biden in Canada today that I've seen. So what's that tell you?
It tells me
82 million people can't be wrong. Where's your support?
Yeah.
Right? So, I'll get my information. And you know what? I got a little troll going on here. I got a troll that's going on here. Some guy that's trolling me because I voted for Mr. Trudeau. At least I have honesty. Okay, and I did in the first election. I said, why? Why? Exactly why I voted for Trudeau. Okay? Well, I'm not headed that way, but I'm trying to get more information on everybody else, minus Jagmeet Singh and shit teeth Elizabeth May.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, with all that money, she could have got her teeth fixed. Okay, and Pierre Poilievre last I was watching, he was talking about crime. And he said, right here in Calgary, where I am, some guy with a gun walks up to the other guy and says, give me all your money with the gun. And the guy says, you know who I am? And the guy says, yeah. He says, you know who I am? He says, no. He says, I'm Justin Trudeau. He said, in that case, give me my money back. And I thought that was pretty funny. And he is pretty comical. And I like that. That's, you got to be humorous. And that he is, right?
Yep.
But on the other hand, to see, here we go. Let's send our troops into Haiti. We don't even have enough troops to cover the convoy that happened last year. We're going to send our troops into Haiti because the Americans are afraid of the backlash that they're going to get if they go in and invade Haiti. And our connections with Haiti is a big Haitian population in Montreal. We had a governor general that was from Haiti. Okay, I get it, but for us to go into Haiti, it's going to be a big mistake. Don't do it. Right, and that's what Joe's pushing for. As for Roxham Road, man, oh man. Okay, the word illegal is illegal.
Yes.
It's criminal.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you have people that are crossing the border illegally, that's criminal. Plain and simple.
Yep.
I've been on probation, a conditional sentence, or a jail sentence for the last 27 years of my life. I've been on bail, and I'm still on bail today as I speak it right now. Since 2018 for pot. Why? Because it was illegal. Okay? These border jumpers, not only is it illegal, well, we see what happens. They're staying at the Holiday Inn in Windsor, Ontario, and I know the price. Back in 2008, I stayed there for 6 months while I was renovating my house at a cost of $3,200 per month is what I was paying at the Holiday Inn while I was renovating my house. So they're all staying in the same hotel I was staying in, and that was 2008. So the rates might be a little bit higher today. I can't see them going down or getting the discount. Then you have the food bill on top of that.
Well, I hope they're getting a bit of a
me, Rick?
discount. I can hear you. I hope they're getting a bit of a discount. But yeah, that's crazy.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, me too.
It's government money.
Yep.
Right? You would think anybody get a discount would be Justin Trudeau at $6,000 a night for a hotel room. He ain't getting no discount. That's our money.
Yeah.
Believe me, they're going to pay the fullest and the largest amount that they can to try and justify where the money's going, right? And that's what they do. That's our money. And these people crossing the border should have been turned around 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
To ask Joe to help us on our border. It's our border. It has nothing to do with America. But we're paying for it, right? So for Pierre to ask even for Joe Biden to help us on our border situation, it's simple. You close it up.
Yeah.
We got a thing called the reserves, okay? And they're military, part-time military. Put the reserves on Roxham Road. You're not crossing anymore. Game's over, okay? So I want to see how this is all played out now that they're saying at midnight tonight it all ends.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the day. Is today it all ends for Roxham Road. I highly doubt that because you know what? I live on the border. I live 1 mile from downtown Detroit, and I'm on the water all the time. Now I'm going to be seeing boatfuls of Haitians and whoever else coming across to our side on boats, and they're going to land that way.
I would imagine there's a frenzy at the Roxham Road border crossing right now with people trying to get over before they shut it down.
I hope there's exactly. And I watched a show on it last night. I think it was Rebel News, and the taxi drivers in New York that are driving them. Okay, the mayor of New York City that are giving the people bus tickets to get out of New York to go to Roxham Road. They're giving them the information on how to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and you cross, and you tell, okay, detain me. They detain you. Boom. My daughter she turned 25 the other night. Now, I put up a post on Facebook, but I took it down in a hurry because my wife said, don't put that up there because my daughter, I didn't ask her, right? So, well, this is what happened to her. She went over to Detroit 2 nights ago to buy a dress for her birthday party this weekend. She was detained for 2 hours at the border, okay, and sent home because she don't have the jab. And I put that on Facebook and I pulled it down, right? So, because she don't have the jab, she was detained for 2 hours and sent home. Yeah. How many of these people coming across that Roxham Road have the jab? Probably none. They're coming from places where there was no jab.
That's right.
Which is all right in my eyes. I don't care about that. But I mean, reverse it, right? We're letting Americans over here that don't have the jab. Not that I really care about the jab, okay? But it has to work both ways. Well, my daughter can't even go to the States, and I live 1 mile from Detroit, right? So she can get a better deal on a dress over there. So it's sad. But I got a confession to make, Rick. All these super chats I've been giving you, I thought they were coming out of my bank account, right? Well, my wife looks at my credit card, and she goes, what the hell is all this? Okay. A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. I said, I don't know. It must be my son on his PlayStation downstairs ordering games. She said, really? Because he did it before, right? So she comes up. She goes, are you ordering games on your dad's credit card again? He goes, no. I'd ask if I did that. And she shows, my wife shows her the phone. She goes, that's Dad, that's super chat. She knew exactly what it was. I tried putting it on my son. But oh well. My wife laughed anyways.
Well,
so that's all that
thank
YouTube.
you.
That's all that Rick Walker. That's all that Rick Walker money you're giving him.
Sorry to
I
get you in
thought you'd
trouble
like
there,
that,
my
buddy.
friend, with your better half. Sorry about that.
I thought my son would have been stand up and at least take the hit for his pops. Little rat.
Well, it's appreciated. It is.
It is. And everybody out there, you know what? It's only a little bit, and I've stated before, for the price of a cup of coffee a day, not only can you help a poor Ukrainian fella, but I think Rick Walker needs it more than the Ukrainian fella, because his phone bill's got to be high, way high in the sky. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Leo. You have a great night, my friend. All right, let's move on to Rob. Hello, how are you?
How you doing, Rick?
I'm okay. Calling from Alabama.
Alabama.
Where are you calling from?
No, I actually I live in Louisiana.
Louisiana. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
I'm a
you.
French
Okay,
Cajun.
I got you.
Yeah.
Welcome back, sir.
I'm not without words, of course, but you know, I'm gonna use code word when we talk about this water thing. You know, somebody says they're gonna do something with water. So, you know, you're welcome to view that video if you like. I live in what they call Ascension Parish. It's in Louisiana. It's Ascension with an A. And just read the local news about what's going on here, you know, down in Louisiana. And it's the act of what a person just got arrested for. He was a public employee in Ascension Parish. And he was caught on camera. This is our public servants urinating in our water supply. Can you imagine that, Rick? Every time the guy's in his little station and he decides he wants to relieve himself, he just steps out on the catwalk into the purified drinking water and just takes him a whiz while he points the camera in another direction. Can you imagine that?
Nice.
So that's the story of my day, and it's back to what I keep saying. If the morale at the public servant level doesn't think that much about the people that provide their jobs, this guy's making $80,000 a year salary. Can you imagine that? And you can only imagine what Justin Trudeau and Joe Biden does behind closed curtains. I can only imagine. You know, I think that Canada and the American people we got one hell of a big fight on our hands to get back our freedom. I noticed. I was going to ask you if you knew anything about that. I mean, Justin Trudeau had mentioned his kids in his video, and he had said something about government issued phones and Twitter. What did he mean by
TikTok.
that? TikTok.
Yeah, they're talking about
So-
banning TikTok in Canada because of security concerns, because TikTok is the Chinese social media platform. And so, yeah, he was referring to his kids using TikTok and security issues surrounding government issued phones. That's what that was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, how much of an open, admitted conspiracy is there when you have leaders of country? I mean, they're going to give you a phone, but they're also going to tell you how to use your phone. They're going to control public information, you know. So that's my vision on that, and I think that I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. But the little subject of water came up today, and then when I start hearing something about somebody's poisoned water well, I'm thinking, good Lord, we've got people that work for public taxpayers' money. They make $80,000 a year to sit on their ass to piss in our water supply. That's
disgusting.
That's the government.
My God.
So, and I can only imagine, you know, it goes up to me as actors of royalty class, and you hit the nail on the head earlier when you said, you know, they're public servants, they're public employees.
That's right.
They're only there because of us people.
Yep.
But I just think that the people should just come out in a good old fashioned show of force in public is numbers, you know. And if I'll be damned if I'm going to be one of these people that's going to take it up my ass by public employees acting as royalty. You know, I mean, it's kind of like it's our house. We pay for this, for you disgusting people to urinate in our water supply. Can you imagine? I mean, I drink water every day, and I could only imagine the thoughts that's going out to the sky tonight, you know. And he didn't even live in the parish. That's the part that I didn't like. He was somebody who lives in the capital city of Baton Rouge and was just an employee of the Ascension Parish Water Supply Company. And it's the same thing, you know. It's public money, and it's the biggest disrespect of public money. We've got $6,000 and $7,000 hotel rooms. You know, we've got $800,000, $900,000 planes going to Hawaii, to Taiwan, to whenever, you know, they want to drive the company car. You know, it comes off the skin of our back in every way to be totally disrespected. And that was my point last night. There's always a good and a bad in a crowd of that size, as in Ottawa at the protest. But the point was clear. We are peasants until we make our stand, and we can at least keep people that's paid our hard-working money from pissing in our water. That's so disrespectful. Even if it's 3 million gallons of water, the point is, why would a person do that? And I've always thought that if things really start going wrong in the government, between the citizens and the government, that's the kind of crap that we're in for. You know, they're going to say, you can't do this with your phone. We're going to do this to the water. We're going to short your food. We're going to keep you from being able to cross a border. You know, Mouth of the South says the truth. You can't. I remember the day when you could just walk across the fucking border into Canada and walk back, take a day trip, no problem.
Yeah.
So the government is drawing these lines in the sand when it should just be up to people. If our governments don't have enough intelligence to wipe out all of these drug cartels and all this other stuff, then it's beyond them. It's the same as the veterans cleaning up the memorials and cleaning up the streets of Ottawa while they were there. It's the same exact thing. Yeah. Somebody's going to have to step up and rub their faces in the mud and make them understand who the hell it is they're working for.
Yep.
You know? Well, I'm not going to babble on. I'm glad you gave me the opportunity, you know, to put an opinion out there, but people better really think about it. And that's a fact. You can check it. It's on Google. There's a YouTube video all about it. A public servant pissing in your drinking water. That your kids, your parents, your kids at school, everybody have to drink that water that somebody's getting paid by our taxpayers' money to piss in our water. And I think that is a disgrace. You know, somebody eventually is going to have to do something about all of this, because it's a war machine, you know, and it's like the sky's the limit. You know, the sky's the limit. All we're trying to do is live happy on this planet, or in this aquarium, as you say. Yeah. And all of us just kind of get along. So the only thing it's going to take to do that is the government is just going to have to go down. They're going to have to revamp it. You know, we're going to have to leave it up to some very smart people to figure it all out. But that's the only way it's ever going to happen. I think that they've made us enemies all over this whole world. It's not even safe to go anywhere anymore. You know, you never know, you know, and it's because of this war machine. It's a constant. So I don't appreciate somebody urinating in our water. And it's right there on the video. Shows the whole damn thing. You know, so I can only imagine what goes on in the mayor's offices and the governor's offices and the MP's offices and Trudeau's. You know, I can only imagine. Peasants, just like I said. We are just peasants until we make our stand. Well, Rick, I appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. And in fact, before you go, I actually have that video queued up here. I'm going to show people exactly what you're talking about.
Show people this disgusting thing.
Yeah.
You know?
This is terrible.
That is what your government, taxpayer, paid employees and institutions think about people.
So here it is.
You know, our roads are.
This is in Ascension, Louisiana.
This security video from March 19th shows a plant worker urinating in the Ascension Parish water supply. The sheriff's office identified the worker as 57-year-old Michael Maston of Baton Rouge. Officials wouldn't be informed of the incident until days later. Ascension Parish president said the contamination did not pose a threat to the community after many samples were taken and continue to meet safe drinking requirements. Maston was arrested on 2 counts of contaminating water supplies and 2 counts of criminal damage to a critical infrastructure. I spoke with residents who declined to interview, but for the most part said that they were outraged. However, one neighbor said he didn't believe that this was a fireable offense. What is your reaction to the video I just showed you?
No, I don't see nothing. Unless they don't have a restroom out there, that's the only thing. I don't see nothing wrong with it. But
what?
It don't bother me.
It don't
Kids teaching at Columbia, a
bother
school that you don't even need to take the SAT.
It bothers me, and I don't even live there, man.
Can you imagine? And that's somebody that runs our local governments that's denying it up until the fact came out. That is an insult to me and everybody that lives inside this parish and inside this country and in Canada too. And it's kind of funny. I think sometimes you may be hacked. because I just had mentioned last night how Canadians and Americans are essentially brothers and sisters, and then it's all of a sudden we're like family. Rick, you and I, we're family.
Yeah.
According to the big wigs, but all the signs are there. I think that it's a total disgrace on what it's all of this shit stirring that, and we're paying for this. We pay for this instead of having people that we pay and represent us to just do their jobs. Once they get in their office, they start telling everybody what they're going to do. They become the boss.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of like, come on. Just, I hope they got the guy in protective custody inside whatever that was. And I wouldn't want to be physically within a half a mile of this guy, only because I think he's just a total disgrace.
I agree.
To have a job that pays you $80,000 a year to sit on your ass, and then you go out and you urinate in our water. You know, what kind of idiot are you? So anyhow, appreciate your time, Rick. I figured I was going to throw that out there. You got to talking about water, you know,
Yeah.
and that was an excellent discussion about the water, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. You know, it's true. And who knows how many more of these scumbags that are on the public ticket out here doing stuff. Who knows? Who knows? You know? So keep that in the back of your mind, and I will talk to you later, Rick.
You betcha.
Appreciate you. Have a good evening.
You too. Great call. And disturbing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, folks, that gets us to 8:30 p.m. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing that. Hit the notification bell if you do subscribe on YouTube. Consider subscribing over on Rumble as well. We're growing over there. Like, share, subscribe, like and share on Facebook. Make sure you hit that like button. That really helps push the videos up in the algorithm here on YouTube. And if you'd like to support the show, you can do that by donating at freedomreporters.com. That's the easiest way, probably the best way to do it. You can also donate at maverickdonations.com. And of course, for those of you who have been donating in the super chats, greatly, greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Leo. And I'm sorry I got you in trouble with your wife for doing that. But yeah, it's been a long day, so we're going to sign off. It's 8:30 p.m. I just sign off a little earlier than normal tonight, but we've been at this now, about 10 and a half hours or something like that. So off and on through the day. And really appreciate you guys choosing to be here with me and the rest of the Maverick family. So it's an absolute privilege. Thank you, everyone. We will be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.